Today our presentation is all about local search, as I mentioned. And again, just for those of you who are not familiar with 20 over 10, a quick recap of what our company does. We create tailored mobile responsive websites for financial advisors. And you can obviously visit our website, 20over10.com, to learn more. But what you're going to see today is many of the SEO factors we're discussing are things you can control built into the backend CMS, which stands for Content Management System, of your 20 over 10 dashboard. So while I go through the presentation, there'll be a couple times where I'll actually show you how you can edit things via your 20 over 10 dashboard. And for those of you that are not 20 over 10 users, I'll explain how you would go about it on other platforms. Okay, so just a little bit more about myself. Again, Samantha Russell, and I am the Director of Sales and Marketing here at 20 over 10. I was part of the founding team. So I've really helped develop our SEO strategy from day one. And I've seen what it takes to get rankings from a large national level as a national company serving clients throughout the country. But I've also worked with hundreds of financial advisors as they develop their own content and SEO strategy to get those local rankings. If you want to learn more about me, we have a nice, fun Meet the Team post we do on each person of our team, so you're welcome to look that up. But I have firsthand knowledge of, both the different tools that you should be using to monitor SEO progress, as well as the ways that content and big search engines can impact your local ranking. So I'm excited to share that knowledge with you here today. I also wanted to note that we offer an SEO presentation pretty much once a quarter. So if you go back to our blog and you do a search on SEO and you're interested in this topic and want to learn more, by going to our blog and searching the term SEO, you can get a list of a ton of other webinars we've done and watch them, free and open to anybody. So that's a great resource to leverage as well. So a few stats on search engine result rankings that I think are just interesting to keep in mind in the back of your head as we go through this. So organic listings, so those that are not paid, not the Google ads, receive 90% of clicks when someone is doing a search. And less than 10% of people actually advance to page 2. So being on that first page of Google is critically important when we're talking about the really big search terms you want to rank for. Page 2 drives about 5% of traffic, and then page 3 it drops all the way to 1%. So if you're after page 3, you basically don't exist. The number 1 organic result drives 33% of clicks, and the top 3 organic results capture 61% of clicks. So when we talk about what's important in ranking, and one of the questions I believe we sent to all of you was, how important is it to rank in the top 3? I was actually surprised by how many people didn't list it as that critically important, because what research shows is that if you're not in the top 3, you're missing out on a very large chunk of clicks. Now, of course, you can't rank in the top 3 for every keyword, but for the keywords most important to your business. And so the reason the top 3 have become so critically important is because of what's called the local 3-pack. So I'm sure many of you have seen this before. When you're doing a search for any kind of business on Google now, if it's a local business, so if you search for restaurants, if you search for hotels, pizza, you're going to get a map with 3 businesses highlighted at the top, and then you can always click more places to get more, but that will show you the category that you're searching for, the location, a review if they have it, a phone number, and then direct links to their website and directions. And now this screenshot's from a desktop. If we were on a mobile device, it would also have a little link to call, click to call. So this is called the 3-pack. In SEO jargon, and it also can be called the knowledge graph. And again, in order to get listed here is really critically important because research shows 61% of people are going to choose one of these 3 to click on when they're doing a local search result. Just a couple other notes about local search. Because Google's trying to give people the most specific results possible, one of the things that I don't think people always understand is you don't actually have to put in the name of the city you're searching in order to get that. So if you're located in Scottsdale, Arizona, and you search the term financial planner, you don't actually have to put the word Scottsdale in the search bar in order to get these results. They will come up because Google understands that that is where you are located. So you really want to keep that in mind. And results that are displayed are going to be very, very specific for each individual because of your location. So if you search on the top northeast corner of Scottsdale for financial planner, and you have a friend who searches at the bottom southwest corner of Scottsdale, the term financial planner, your results are going to be different. Google will actually pull the results that are physically closest to you, is one of the top factors that goes into this. And I can't understate that enough. We're going to talk about all the different things you can do to rank well locally, but just your physical location makes a huge difference in terms of where the searcher is conducting that search from. So not every search result's going to give you also a local listing. In fact, up until just about 18 months ago, if you search terms like financial planner, financial advisor, you wouldn't always get local listings. You would get, a list of the top 10 financial planning blogs or advice columns. Google's been adding more and more trigger keywords, as they call them, or categories into what prompts local results. So typically keywords, everybody knows, like things like pizza delivery, dentist, shoe store, those are going to generate a local business. But now we're seeing words like doctor, lawyer, financial planner are also generating those local search results as well. Anytime anybody actually puts in the location that they want, of course, that's also going to trigger those keywords as well. So you also want to make sure you have those specific keywords that you are wanting to rank for from a geographic location also added. So if you're a financial planner in Chicago, you would want the word Chicago listed on your site and in some other critically important places. So before we can talk though about, how this all works and what you should be doing to optimize your site, one of the first things that I think is really important for everyone to pay attention to is actually knowing where they stand currently. So what happens a lot is people will contact me and they'll say, hey, I have a website and I'm currently ranking number 5 for the keyword financial advisor when someone does a search for financial advisor in Tallahassee, Florida. And then I go to do that search and I get a completely different result. And what they don't understand is that the results that they're going to see are going to be different than me, even if we do the exact same search in our browser. And that's because Google takes into account a whole host of things when they deliver you results. Your past search history, where you are located, what you've clicked on before, that's all going to play into the results that you're shown. So really, if you want to get a truly objective view of how your site is ranking and performing, you need to use a tool like this. So this is serps.com. You can see up here in the search bar. Any of you can go there, click on their tools, and then the free keyword rank checker. And so what you would do is right in here in this bar, you would put the keywords you want to rank for. So you don't need to put the location in here because you're going to be able to search from the exact location in this little portal part here. But what you would do is, let's say you want to rank for fee-only financial advisor, and you want that to come up really prominently in Annapolis, Maryland, right? So you'd put fee-only financial advisor as the keyword, and then over here from the exact location, you'd put Annapolis, Maryland. You can also run it by desktop and mobile to see the difference, and then click go. And what you're gonna get is a list of all of the top domains that rank for those keywords, and you can see where you actually fall. If you don't see your name in the top 10 or 15 and you're wondering how you rank, you can come back and put your actual website URL here in the domain name lookup, and then it will give you your specific ranking. Or if it says no results found, I'm sorry to tell you, that means your site does not rank currently at all for those keywords. So this is a really, really critically important tool to use before you start thinking about making changes, right? You want to know how your site is performing now before you start thinking about changes you're going to make in the future. I run this report for people every once in a while, just as part of, an SEO quick check. You can only check keywords one by one in this free option. However, one of the other tools that you can set up that I've talked about with many of you before that will go even more in depth is Google Search Console. So this is a much more in-depth tool. And one of the reasons I'm showing you both is for many of you, you're not going to want to take the time to set up Search Console, run, set it up the way that you need to, and then look at it. So if you're just trying to check a few keywords before you make a couple strategic moves, this tool is a great option for you to get started with. Once you're ready to advance and have SEO as part of a larger overall strategy that your business is deploying for their ongoing marketing, then you need to move on to Google Search Console. So when we talk about Google Search Console, it used to be called Google Webmaster Tools. They changed the name, but it's basically the same thing. It's a free service provided by Google that allows users to see information on how Google is indexing and displaying their sites in the search results. So all the data we're going to see here is only about our own domain name, our own URL. The other tool that I mentioned, you're going to see a list, if you recall what I said, of all domains that compete for that keyword. So this tool also shows you how you stand and compare to your competition, whereas Search Console gives you all of the data for your website only. So that's another big difference between the two. So once you've set up your Search Console via Google Webmaster Tools, which can be a little bit tricky for some of you, if you're a 20/10 client, it'll ask you to put something in the header code, which you can send to our support team and we can get that embedded for you. If you're on another platform, you want to contact your webmaster and have them help you verify it. But once you get it set up, you're going to be able to see 4 critically important things. Or I guess 5. You're going to see here a list of all of the queries. So these are different searches that people have done to land them on your website. So this is an example from a 30-day period back in the summertime from the 20/10 blog. So we see a list of the search terms that people used that landed them, that generated our blog in the list of results, right? So they did a search for best financial advisor websites. Our 20/10 blog was one of the available links for them to click on. What we see over here is how many people, where that 20/10 blog was in the results, how many people actually clicked on it. And then the impressions is how many people were given the option to click on it. So 241 times in a 30-day period, we came up in the search results when somebody clicked or when somebody searched best financial advisor website. 45 times out of the 241 available, someone clicked on it, and that gives us a click-through rate of 18%. We were in the top position, the first position. So if you looked at a search result page, you might have a couple ads at the top, and then we would be the first organic search result. So then we can look at that, best financial advisor websites and see how we compare against other search terms. So what this allows you to do is think about how you want to compete for a couple different search terms, right? Because you're not going to be able to compete for every keyword possibly relevant to your business. That's a terrible strategy. What you want to do is focus on a few. So what you can see, what we've done is the terms financial advisor and financial planner and website are the keywords that we focused on. And you can see all the different iterations that we have of them that we're ranking for. And we're ranking between the 1st and 4th position for all those keywords. Now, this is a screenshot, so I can't show you interactively, but if I were to log into my Search Console, I could click on position and see search terms where we're ranking 180th. Or, there might be search terms where we're ranking 15th, right? And we know that we're really on the 2nd page of Google, so it's no man's land. No one's going to see it or click on it. So what this allows you to do is think about what keywords can you be competitive for and have a chance of ranking higher, and which ones are going to be really, really hard for you to compete against. And so this tool in combination with the SERPs tool are really critical for laying the foundation of knowing how you're going to rank locally against your competition. Again, if you are thinking about making any changes, one of the things I suggest is looking for search results where you're in the 7th to 10th position and trying to improve your ranking for those results. So you know you're already competitive for the terms where you're ranking 1, 2, and 3, right? But you can also think about how do you create new content? How do you optimize additionally for search terms where you're ranking in the 7 to 10 range? You'll have a lot of opportunity in those ranges to move up even higher. If you're ranking 50th, you have a long road ahead of you. Okay, so these are the 5 things that I'm going to talk about today. So we talked about benchmarking yourself and figuring out where your site stands first. And then we're going to talk about 5 ways that you can improve your search results locally based upon what you've learned, right? So you go in, you see how you're ranking, and you decide, I want to improve the results when somebody searches financial advisor for physicians in the Philadelphia area. So that's your goal. That's what you want to do. Now, how do we actually do it? So these are the 5 steps. This is just an overview, and we're going to go into each one in detail. So the first thing that you want to think about is optimizing what's called page titles and meta descriptions. So a page title, also called a title tag, is what is actually displayed in the search bar in big, blue lettering at the top of the page. It's purple here because I had clicked on it. That describes your business. So it also shows up in your browser bar up at the top of the page. So I'm sure sometimes you've been on a website and you've seen it just say home, right? If you were to do a Google search for that company, the description at the top would just say home. So the reason it's so critically important that we think about these title tags and meta description is you want the keywords that you want to rank for in that title tag. So if we come over here, we can see out of all of these, if someone's doing a search for an electrician in Phoenix are in the title tag in all of these examples, except for this example, they just have the word home first and then the other keywords, right? You want to avoid doing this as much as possible because it's not descriptive about what that page is all about. It's a waste of space. Same thing you don't want to do is actually put in your page title, just regurgitate the actual URL, right? So instead of having it say templetonfp.com, it should say, Phoenix Financial Planner / Templeton Financial Planning. So that's what the title tag is. The meta description is the gray wording underneath the title tag that provides a description about the search result and entices someone to click on it. So your meta description, I always like to tell people, think of it as ad copy. It's trying to get users to actually click on your link. So when you're writing it, you want to make sure you're including copy that's enticing for a visitor, but also includes the keywords that you would want to be ranking for. So an optimal format for these page titles to make them really friendly for local search and to rank higher locally, you want to have your primary keyword, then your secondary keyword, and then the name of your company. We have a brand name listed here, but the name of your company, right? So we can see here, Lancaster, PA is the primary keyword. So they really want to rank high within the Lancaster, PA geo area. The secondary keyword is financial planning. And then the name of the company is Sequinox. So you can use a hyphen. You can use a vertical line, just but separating the two. So that is how optimally you want to set up, especially your homepage, right? And then we can see here in the browser bar, we're also going to get that keyword queue for the search engine. So again, don't waste space on any page names that don't provide helpful information. When you're writing your page titles, a few other tips. You want to keep your page titles under 60 characters because over 60 characters, they start to get cut off. I'm sure you've seen before where there's like a ... That means that it was cut off. You also don't want to just overstuff keywords, right? So you wouldn't want to write financial planner, PA, financial planning in PA financial planner. It's redundant and confusing and it's not great copy. So don't just relist them all out. you want to go back to that primary keyword, secondary keyword, brand name. However, you do want to give every single page and blog post a unique title. So what I've seen a lot of people do is if they want to rank for the search term, Lancaster, PA financial planning, they will make all of their subpages have Lancaster, PA financial planning in the page title. That is not a good idea because, again, they each should have their own unique page title, right? So you could have that for your homepage, but then for your subpages, you want to have a different unique title. But you do want to put important location-specific keywords first, especially for the homepage when we're talking about local SEO. We just had a question come in from Allison Labram, who asked how we can change it in the dashboard. It's a great timing because that's the next slide. So the way that you do it is you log into your dashboard. On the left-hand side under the main navigation, you're going to click page settings. And then under your page settings, you have page name, page URL slug, and browser page title. This is the sweet spot where you're going to change it. So again, you're going to do primary keyword, secondary keyword, company name, and that's how you change it. So you're going to be able to do that for every page and subpage. So you can see we're doing it here under who we are. You would be able to do it under home, our clients, every single page and subpage. You can go in and make these edits in the dashboard. And then you just want to make sure you save your edits. And then again, you have to go back through the publish step again, because we are working in a compliance regulated industry. You need to go back once you're done saving, you need to click publish and then either have your broker dealer approve it or, self-publish if you're an RIA, so that it will go live. Nothing will go live until you go through that publish and review step. All right. So that's the page titles. Now moving on to the meta descriptions, which you also have the ability to edit in our app. So with your meta descriptions, you want to keep these under 160 characters. And again, you're thinking of them as ad copy, right? So in this example, they have with offices in Annapolis, Maryland and Sarasota, Florida, They list the first two locations right there in the ad copy of the meta description. And then they also have only a small percentage of financial advisors or fee only in there, right? So they're trying to entice you to say, we're different, here's how, come work with us. And so again, all the meta description is doing is enticing someone to click because it's giving them information about your page. Your meta description doesn't actually impact your SEO ranking directly. Google won't show your result more or less based on keywords in here. But what it does do is highlight in, dark gray, the keywords that someone did a search for. So if someone does a search for financial advisor, Annapolis, Maryland, it's going to highlight those in gray saying these are included in what you searched for. And if you write really bad meta description copy and you don't get any clicks to your website, your usability as Google sees it will be impacted, right? So they'll say, wow, we showed this website in 400 search result pages last month and no one clicked on it. We're not going to show it as many results for that same search term next month because it must not be a good result because no one's clicking on it. So what meta descriptions do is help you get more clicks, which can help improve your search engine ranking over time. You also want to make sure that each meta description is very specific to the specific page that you're describing. So again, even if you're talking about a specific location, you want to have a different meta description for every page of your site. So if your one page is talking about your services, the meta description should be focusing on that and not the location that you're based in. Also remember that social networks will pull in meta descriptions below the headline for social sharing. So you want to make sure that they're, social media friendly and not just search engine friendly. So if you are in your 20/10 dashboard, you're going to go back to the same place you were before, right? So you're going to click on page settings for any of the page. It'll open up as an overlay, and then you're going to scroll down on this section until you get here. So you'll land on a part that says SEO, and it'll say description. And this is where you write your meta description. So you can do this page by subpage. each page and subpage can have a meta description. In case some of you are wondering, we do add these for you during the website setup. However, we are going to be pulling, using our best judgment based on the website we're developing for you and the content we can see of what that should say. You're going to be, as the owner of your business, the best final judge on whether that is a compelling meta description or page title. And of course, we want you to edit them if they need to be tweaked. All right. So the first thing we had talked about was page titles and meta descriptions, how important they are for local search. The second thing is to claim and optimize your Google My Business listing, which is critically important because, as we said before, when we were talking about that 3-pack of 3 results that you get, each one of those individual listings is actually a Google My Business listing. So the way that those companies have been able to be displayed there is that they have a Google My Business listing set up. So if you don't, your business is not going to show up there. So you really need to set this up even to have a chance to compete in that section. All right. So how do you do that? That's what we're going to talk about now. Just find. Okay. So what's interesting is Google's trying to consolidate as much of this as possible. So the Google My Business listing is actually, when you update it, it's also going to update the information shown in Google Maps, Google Plus, and the Knowledge Graph. So all in one place. And according to a 2017 edition of Moz, which is one of the top SEO resources on the web, their local search engine ranking factors survey, they said that the Google My Business listing is one of the top factors and drivers of local SEO success. So businesses that are appearing really regularly for local search are those that have Google My Business profiles that have been set up and optimized, that have their hours, photos, name, address, phone number details, and quality links coming in. So let's talk about how you can actually go about setting this up and making sure it's optimized. So the first thing you need to do is, actually claim, if you haven't already, or create your Google My Business page. This, in order to happen, you actually have to do it via postcard. So they want to make sure that your business is the business that it's claiming and saying it is, so that there's no spammy businesses able to be made. So you actually have to get a postcard sent to your business in the mail, and then you go through a verification process. I know for some financial advisors that are just starting out, they do not currently have a physical office address. They work at a co-working space, or they have a home office. There is a way that you can still get a Google My Business listing without a displayed business address. You can mask it and hide it. It's certainly not going to be as good. It's certainly not going to be as great of a ranking, but it's better than nothing. So if you currently do not have a set office address and you don't want to list your home address, there is a way that you can still go into Google, claim your business using your home address, but then hide the address so that only the phone number, the hours show up, and the map will basically disappear. So keep that in mind. But the best way to include, to get the best rankings locally is going to be to have a physical address that you can list here. And they're going to send you that postcard and you're going to verify it. So once you do that, you'll, enter your PIN to verify your business, and then you'll start optimizing. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to add in things like your phone number, your hours of operation, make sure that your address and the way that it's displayed on the map is all accurate. You'll have access to change that if it doesn't look right. If you have multiple locations, you're going to want to submit individual pages to Google My Business so that each of your locations comes up. And you also want to make sure that whatever the address is that's displaying here is exact and explicitly stated the exact same way on your website, as well as any other search directories that you're listed on. So you can see here in this example, number 4D is here, right? Let's say this was Suite A, and then they had on their website it was STE period, but on Google My Business, it was SUITE all spelled out. That's not good. You want them to match. You want them to match exactly. So make sure that you, are being consistent across how your site data is being displayed. You also, this is really interesting, the more photos that you can have, high resolution photos, can actually be a boost. So again, if we're thinking about what does Google want, they want the best possible search results for their users, right? So if they think a business has a lot of photos, if it has maybe a review or two, it's a more engaged, more current business. So even just by simply updating, like adding in there your company logo, maybe a picture of your office, your bio photo, you're going to be ahead of the curve of other businesses that don't have any photos at all. 6 is the magic number where we start seeing businesses that are listed in the top three pack. They've got at least 6+ photos. So that's why we recommend that. So you can have different variations of your logo, your office, again, anything of the location, inside the office, outside the office, that's all going to help. You also want to make sure that your business address is listed on your website, again, as I mentioned, exactly as it is on the Google My Business listing, but also that on your website you have a Google map embedded. So I've known a couple people who, we automatically do this at 20 over 10, but I've heard people say like, oh, I don't want the map. I don't want driving directions or anything like that ability. You're hurting your search engine rankings if you elect to remove that. So keep that in mind. You do want to have the Google map embedded into your website. It will help your local search engine rankings very much. And so again, I can't say this enough, making sure we call it NAP data, so that stands for name, address, and phone number, that it is consistent across all registries. So if your business is listed on Guidevine, on NAPFA's website, on Google My Business, on Yelp, on Yellow Pages, your address should be listed exactly the same on every single one of those directories. Even one little inconsistency can make it so that Google has a hard time associating those accounts together. And if you can use a local telephone number, so I know a lot of people will use their cell number or they'll use something like Google Voice. That also can be a huge factor in giving you a little bit of a boost. So again, this is all related to local search, right? So the more we can show that we're a local business, the better our search engine results are going to be for those local search terms. Okay. So once we've done Google My Business, which is like the main directory everyone should focus on, then you want to move on and focus on all the other directories and listings available to your business. So this includes things like social media sites like LinkedIn, Facebook, right? I'm sure all of you have followed a local business on a social media site before, and you can see when they're open or closed, or if they have any upcoming events going on. Financial advisors can do the exact same thing and get the same boost to their local SEO rankings. You can also add your business listing to Yelp, to City Search, Angie's List, local.com, Yellow Pages. There's really hundreds of these. And I don't recommend only doing the national ones, but also doing ones that are, local to your area, right? So you can check with your local newspaper's website and see if they have a listing of all local businesses, or the tourism board in your area for your town. Of course, your chamber of commerce usually will have one. The more of these you can get listed on that are not only national, but also specific to your location, the better. So, just kind of make a big Excel spreadsheet, make a list of them all, and start registering one by one. You always, again, want to make sure your name, address, and phone number is completely consistent so that it's not going to wreak havoc on your, results over time. And also, you want to make sure that you keep a Excel spreadsheet of all of the places you've registered your business. So let's say you do change offices 2 years from now. You want to know what the login and password was if you had to create an account for one of these, so that you can go in and change it. Because one of the things that will really hurt your business is if you have half of your listings with one address and half with another. So everything needs to match and be consistent. So keeping a spreadsheet of where you've registered your business, and then if at any time anything changes, whether it's your hours of operation, your phone number, you can quickly go back in and change it all at once. One other thing I did want to highlight on this page, this Bing Places, that's very similar to Google's Google My Business. And so if you're going to start with any of these, I'd start with that. While Bing is obviously nowhere near the search engine in popularity as Google is, a lot of people still do use it, and it can impact your local SEO to make sure that you're registered through Google Bing Places. Somebody did write in and say that they were able to verify their Google My Business through just calling in and not getting the postcard delivered. That's great. I've heard a couple people say that they've been able to do that. I think there are some different factors that go into whether you'll qualify or not, such as like domain history, whether you can prove that you're the holder of the business in other ways. So for some of you who don't want to be discouraged by the postcard issue, potentially you may be able to qualify and just call in. Thank you for letting us know that, Steve. All right, so we've talked about updating your page titles and meta descriptions. We've talked about setting up your Google My Business account and then registering your business on the other directories. Now we're going to move on to online reviews. So something really exciting. I know for most advisors, for the longest time, right, reviews are a big no-no. We can't talk about them. We can't have recommendations. We can't encourage reviews. And that's just the way that it's been. But the reason being, right, is that the SEC for a long time has been a critic of any online reviews for advisors, really because consumers' livelihoods are at stake. And so there was always a concern that these reviews could be manipulated by the firm, by the advisory firm, and there'd be a huge potential for client abuse, right? Well, the good news is that with the advent of social media and the ability for consumers to leave reviews completely independent of the advisory firm, the SEC's Division of Investment Management has recently relaxed the rules surrounding social media sites, and in turn, part of that also applies to reviews in recent years. So as long as the review site is something where you have no control over the content of the review, and also the reviewer is not being compensated in any way, and all reviews are published, both positive and negative, then that site is fine. So we think of something like Yelp, right? Or here you're seeing these 5-star reviews through Google My Business's review service built into Google Maps. Any of these are going to be allowable, and that's why we can see here, this is a financial planner, this is another financial planner that actually have this one has 3, this one has 1 5-star review. It's because they cannot control the reviewers going in and saying something. They can't control whether negative reviews are posted. So the SEC is saying there's nothing they can do about this. It can happen. If it does happen for your business that someone reviews you, it can be a really, really big boost to your local SEO. Especially right now where not a lot of advisors don't have review. They don't have any reviews for their business. Those that do are going to get a huge, bump up in the rankings overall. And so I still am not advocating by any means that you go and encourage people to review you. There's mixed messaging on whether that's okay. My whole point is just to say that it's something that is happening. People are doing reviews of financial advisors and financial planners like they are any other service. And that you'll notice that those who do have the reviews and the more reviews and the more positive reviews tend to get a bump in the local SEO rankings. So these are some stats that apply to any industry, not just financial advisory firms, but a single 5-star rating is, in a better position, of course, than an advisor with no rating at all. However, if you have 100 reviews that are, generally average out to be 4-star, and then there's somebody else who maybe has 20 reviews that are 5-star, you're going to be seen as more popular overall and probably get a bump up in the list of SEO rankings for local search. Another interesting thing is that our research shows that if you're an advisor that has somebody wrote one super long review where they went into how you help them and their services and everything, that may be preferred by Google over somebody who just has 5 stars with no commentary. So somebody actually taking the time to write out their message can also give you a big boost. So again, I'm not advocating that you go and ask folks to start, reviewing you online. I do know, I've heard of people who do that. I'm just saying that when you go and you look at the search engine results in the local 3-pack, you're often going to see that those who are listed at the top are advisors who have reviews in their Google My Business listing. Okay, so those are the 4 top things that you can do anybody can do to get their site to rank higher. But then this last one is just things that what we call foundational factors in SEO. So foundational factors are, we assume you've already done these things. And then the other 4 that I talked about are what you do on top of that. If you haven't done this already, you have to start here. I'm assuming that most of you already have this, but it's worth noting just in case. So the first is that your site needs to be mobile responsive to rank in local search. Google is penalizing sites now for local search who are not mobile responsive. So it's an absolute, it has to be mobile responsive. The second thing is that this isn't an absolute today, but it will be within the next 6 months. You need to have an SSL certificate for security. So what an SSL certificate is when you go to a website and you see in the browser it says secure up here, that website has an SSL certificate. And it makes their site all of a sudden display as an HTTPS instead of an HTTP, and it turns green. So Google is now prioritizing sites that have SSL certificates in search rankings because they know that that site takes security more seriously, and they, again, want to always give their clients, which is us searching, the best results possible. So they're going to prioritize people who have that SSL certificate over those that don't. If you don't have one, so if you're 20 over 10 client, we include it in our service. If you don't have one and you're not with 20 over 10, you can usually purchase one through your domain registrar for like $50 a year or something like that. So it's definitely worth it to do it, not only for SEO purposes, but also for security. It just helps secure your site and any data being transferred back and forth between you and the client, even something as simple as their name, email, phone number. It gives clients a better sense of security. And then the last one is that's an absolute foundational factor, is that the keywords you want to rank for have to also be in your website content. So if you want to rank for a financial planner in Chicago, you can't just set it up on Google My Business, put it in your page title up here, put it in your meta description, put it in Google Maps. It actually has to be in the content of your website as well. And this is something I see people forget to do over and over and over again. They want to rank in a specific geographic area, but they don't want to put it in the content anywhere because they're scared if somebody's not in that area that they won't contact them. So you can simply add something like available wherever, or working with clients nationwide, based in Chicago or located in Chicago, available virtually nationwide, whatever you want. But I do promise you that putting based in Chicago is not going to deter someone who's interested in working with you from contacting you. Most people understand that the nature of business today is that people can conduct business virtually. So putting that keyword in there is not going to deter someone else from working with you, but it will really help your local SEO in ranking higher. And so when you're thinking about where you want to put those keywords, you want to put them in your H1 and your H2 tags on your website. So that's places like this, right? The big bold text that goes above the paragraph copy. Okay, so I know we talked about a lot of things today that you can do to improve your local SEO rankings. And for some of you, you might be thinking, well, that's a lot of things to do to get, just to get these foundational SEO in place. So I wanted to kind of kick it back over to Amanda. If you are a 20 over 10 client, unfortunately, we cannot do this package for you if you're not. But if you are, we do have an SEO package where we will do all of what I just went over for you. So Amanda, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So as Sam has kind of gone through these past 40 minutes or so, there's a lot that goes into SEO. and optimizing your site for SEO. So we're definitely here to help you. Today, we've tried to give you some of the tools and tips and tricks on how to do it yourself, but we know that it can still be overwhelming. So our SEO Kickstarter package is a really, really great offering that we have for clients. Like Sam mentioned, if you're on our platform already, we will kind of go through these things with you that she's got pulled up on the screen. So we'll work with you on both your on-page SEO strategy, which includes updating things like your meta descriptions, your title tags, your headers, and just optimizing the copy on your site for local search engine results. We'll also be sure you're integrated with Google Maps and your NAP data, your name, address, phone number is consistent across all of your registries. And then we'll also do things for off-page SEO efforts, which include your Google My Business page, getting that set up, setting up your Google Search Console, everything involved with Google, as well as some of those other sites like we mentioned earlier in the presentation, like Bing, Yahoo, other places like that.
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, so we're going to send out an email to everyone after today's webinar with a recap and a replay, and we'll put in some more information if you're interested in working with us on this package on how to get started. And I think we're going to have a coupon, right, Amanda?
Yeah.
For a little discount too for taking the time to attend today. So if you have more questions about that, look out for the email that Amanda will be sending from our marketing email, and she can answer those questions about this specific package. And that also wants, I want to leave our contact information here. If you do have a specific question about SEO or using the platform to make updates, of course, you can reach out to us and we will be happy to answer. I did see a couple other questions, I think, that came in while I was talking about some things that weren't necessarily on topic at the moment. So I'm going to go through and answer those questions. And then if you have additional questions that you want us to cover, please go ahead and put them in the Q&A and we can answer them live here because we have a few more minutes. So Jeffrey is asking, do you recommend keeping old sites live for SEO if you've also launched a brand new site? So it depends. You obviously would have to have two different domain names. And so one of the big factors for SEO is actually the history of your domain name. So what I typically will tell clients to do is, if possible, to launch your new site at the old domain name, right? I know that that's not always possible because you might be changing the name of your company, but if possible, keep the domain name the same and just launch the new website at that domain name, because the history of your domain and how long it's been online is a big factor in SEO. If you don't have that as an option and you need to have a brand new domain launched, then what I would suggest doing is keeping the old one up and linking to the new site in multiple pages. So what you're doing is your old site that has that domain history, you start linking to pages of your new site from that site so that your new site gets an SEO boost from the old page. And after about 12 months, then you take the old site down. So that would be what I would suggest in that scenario. Let's see here. Somebody mentioned Yext is a great source for getting all of this together. Yext, for those of you that don't know, is a company that will manage all of your listings. So they won't do the on-page stuff that we talked about, right? They're not going to go in and add keywords to your web content. They're not going to edit your page titles and your meta descriptions. But what they will do is take care of number 3, listing your business correctly and consistently on all these other directories. So if you want to take care of the other pieces and hire them, they charge a monthly fee, and then they will keep it consistent across all of the platforms. Let's see what other questions came in. Amanda, were there any other in chat?
Not in chat. It looks like a question from Mike just came through asking what, if any, SEO services are available from 20 over 10 to websites done in WordPress, but not on the 20 over 10 platform.
You can check out Yoast, Yoast, and they have a great plugin that will help with a lot of SEO for, WordPress sites. Unfortunately, we don't work with any sites at all that aren't built on our platform. So if you're looking for SEO help outside of, you want somebody to come in and work on SEO within your existing WordPress website, another company I can highly recommend is Indigo Marketing. I think Amanda might have even put a link to that somewhere in the chat. I thought I saw, but Claire Aiken, she is a marketing expert that our team works closely with. And she will work on any platform, I believe, including WordPress. And she offers an ongoing SEO package as well as an SEO startup package as well. So that's a great option if you are on WordPress to check her out. And she also specializes in financial services. Let's see. Somebody had asked what platform we actually use. As we were going through this. Just so you all know, we don't use WordPress, Joomla, Drupal. We built our platform, so it's our own proprietary platform, which is great because it gives us a lot of flexibility and making updates and changes as requested by our users. So if a lot of you end up requesting something or want to see an update that will impact SEO, we can easily make it happen. For instance, the adding of the SSL certificates. As soon as that came out, we were able to deploy it across all of our clients really quickly and easily because it's our own proprietary system. If people keep asking for the ability to update, meta descriptions in a different way, we can add that functionality in. So it is our own platform. We have a live demo every single week. We have one coming up tomorrow. If you go to 20over10.com and you can click join a demo and sit in and listen and watch, how the platform actually works. Okay, well, I don't see any other questions. So we will get this recording finalized and send it all out to everybody, and we'll have information about that SEO package if anyone wants to learn more. And if you have any other questions, offline that you'd like us to tackle, please reach out to us, and we will be happy to answer them. Thank you all for coming today.